Hello friends, very good morning to all of you. So today we'll discuss PF63, that is designing of a policy which not requires the multi-factor authentication. It just requires a single factor. And let's see how we can build a common policy which can be utilized for your OAuth, OpenID Connect, SAML, WSFID, sorry, or whatever type of application. So let's see how we can build that. And I think right now you already know how to build a policy in PingFed, right? How to use selector, how to use adapter, how to use authentication policy contract. So I'll just give you an idea of this, like how you can build this policy, but you can try by your own. And if you have any questions, please put in the comment section so we can have one more session for this, or else I'll help you in the comment section to build that policy. Okay, so let's begin. Let's begin on that. So as I told you, I'll just give you an idea of this, how to you can build the policy which requires no MFA, and then you can just put for, like, you can utilize this for different type of applications like SAML or OpenID Connect, WSFID, like that. So as a best practice, what you need to do as a first, I'll say that first you need to build up authentication policy contract. Let's say that first you're, let me put here, like first you need to build a APC. In APC you can put some name like no MFA or exempt MFA, something like that. So and just define the attributes, like the standard attributes there. Okay, that's the first thing you can do. Second thing, once you created the APC, what you can do, you can just define in the authentication policy, right? That means like let's say you are building a policy, so you need to define there. That means what I'm trying to say, let's say define APC, sorry, APC in authentication policy. What is the meaning of this? That means, like, let's say if I need to build a policy in PingFed, right, using, let's say, a single factor. So what I do, I'll just first, let's say if I need to check like whether user is coming from internal or external network, so I'll use the CIDR selector, and based on that I can get an idea. And then I'll just define the only one adapter, like let's say HTML form. Okay, and then it will just give me the single factor, and then in the contract mapping I can define the APC. Right? I think what I'm saying, I think, let me show you something. So let's go to the policy section. Let's say, so I'll just give you some quick idea on this. So let's say if I just put some name like whatever, like let's put test, and then like okay, then I'll just define the, let's say here, the HTML adapter. Let's say that we have something HTML form OpenDJ. Okay, that is fine. And fail for done, and success, what I'll do for success, I'll define the APC here, right? I'll not use the adapter here, I'll just use the policy contracts, and I'll define, let's say, PF learning something, and then I'll do the contract mapping. So what I'm saying, that the step number one, like in our case of, we can just create a APC, authentication policy contract, and defining APC in authentication policy means, that means like when I'm building a policy here, I can just define here, right, in the contract mapping. That means I define my HTML form adapter in the policy based on the selector. I'm not defining the selector here, but based on the selector, like I'm internal network user or external network user. Based on that, I define my adapter HTML form. And then on the success part, I'm defining the contract mapping with that APC. Okay. So I'm just defining this contract in this policy. That's my intention to just mention that, define APC in authentication policy. Once that is done, then you can simply just update that, just mention that update in SAML app. So if you have any SAML app, if you create it, so you can directly define the APC there, so that automatically it can trigger this policy, the policy you creating in the PingFed, right? So using the APC, you can trigger this policy, and then yeah, whatever you want to use, that exempt MFA, it will happen. Right? That is for SAML app. Now, how we can just go for the OAuth OpenID Connect? So this can work for SAML or WSFID, you can say. But going for OAuth OpenID Connect, we just need to do few other things also. What that thing we need to do? So on the fourth step, we just need to do the mapping of APC to persistent grant. So let's say mapping the APC, the new APC you built with, or you can say to persistent, persistent grant. Okay, this is a very important step. So first, whatever the three step you did, that for SAML WS fed. That means like in the SAML WS fed, if you're defining that APC, it can easily trigger the policy you are just creating for the no MFA or the exempt MFA. But like for OpenID OAuth, you just need to first do the fourth step, that is mapping that APC to persistent grant. And you know how to map that. We have already covered that. So just try by your own. And if you have any questions, please you can put the comment section. I will help you. But just try to build by your own. In the fifth step, what you need to do, you just need to build the ATM. Okay, that means access token management you need to build. Okay. So for OAuth OpenID, first in the fourth step you did the mapping to the APC to persistent grant. Fifth, you created a new access token manager. Then in the sixth step, what you can do do the access token mapping with the new APC. Right, so you can just go for the access token mapping with new APC. Okay, so you have created the access token manager. Now you can just go for the access token mapping, and here you can define the new APC, the new authentication policy contract you created. You can use that and just do the mapping for the access token manager you built. Right. Seventh step. So this is done for the OAuth case. Okay, but let's say for OpenID Connect, what we need to do? Again, two things, like let's create a new OIDC policy. Okay. So the seventh step, you can just create a OIDC policy with new ATM. That ATM you defined, the access token manager. Just create the OIDC policy using that. And then the last step, what I can say, update the ATM. Update the ATM and OIDC policy to your OAuth client. Okay, so these are the, and now you can go for the testing, right? You can test like for OAuth, SAML, whatever. So for SAML, it's just like for SAML WSFed, what you are doing, just creating the APC, defining the APC in the policy, that's done, nothing else. But to use for the OAuth OpenID Connect, you need to do several steps, and the steps start from mapping the APC to persistent grant, and then going for the new access token management creation, then doing the mapping of that with the new APC, then again creating the new OIDC policy with the new ATM. And once this OIDC policy and ATM is ready, you can map this or you can use this to define in your OAuth client, so that if any user accesses that OAuth client, it will automatically trigger this new policy you built. Because you have a separate APC, it's not like going to use any other policy. It's not going to trigger any other policy because you have defined the new APC and it is already defined in the connection. So this is the way you can design the policy and you can use. So just do the practice, just see how you're doing this. And if you have any confusion in any of the steps, you can just put in the comment section so I can discuss again. Yeah, so just try and let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.